Hello, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for dropping in to Healing Body, Mind, and Soul with Aeriol. Oh my gosh, today I am so excited about my guest, and I think you're going to be too. My guest today is the amazing Gian. Now, I hope I'm saying that correctly, because I think that is a new name for me. But I'm going to tell you why my new friend here is just like, I feel like I've met one of my somebody from my soul pod and my family, and so why I'm so excited. Now, I have to back up, and before I introduce my guest, I'm going to tell you a little story of a little journey that I've been on. So, some of the guests know that I am a performing artist and a musician and a singer and a voice and presence coach, and that part of my life is sort of in one part of my life. And then some of you know that I'm a healing minister and a vibrational sound therapist and a metaphysical doctor and blah, 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 blah. And that is another part of my life. And part of my journey as a healer and an artist has always been to blend these two parts of myself. Now, in an interview the other day, if you have been paying attention, Todd Zimmerman, who was talking about soul prints, gave me a little tip after the interview. And I just kind of put out there because I was feeling like I really wanted to start a new music project artistically. And Todd sent me to my friend's website. And this is what it said when I pulled that website up. If you see music as a divine channel of expression, are looking to give voice to your inner call, hoping to partner with someone who understands the sacredness and divinity of your music, and are wishing to achieve this while maintaining music industry standards, you can call Astral Records your home. Well, here I am. I'm home. I'm so excited. Blending these two worlds is open as a healing artist and as a musician. I am coming out of my skin. As a healing artist, I have been using tuning forks and crystal bowls and all kinds of doodads. Sometimes my voice, but mostly breath in my healing work. And I am stoked that my new friend says, oh yeah, it's just a complete natural, blend of these two things. I've known that all along, but I just didn't know how to bridge this. So my new friend is gonna help us here. And I hope that there are some musicians and some of my sound healing friends are listening right now, because I think you're really gonna wanna lean in to my friend Gian. So Gian, that was a long and gushing, winding road of a story, but I just want to open my heart and my presence to you and let you know how much I appreciate the work that you're doing. So thank you for being here today.
Oh, I wish this was not only a podcast, because I'm literally having goosebumps after this introduction. Thank you so much. I really appreciate. The time is now for the sound healers and the sound people, the people that see music as a divine channel. The time is now, and that's why I feel so good and so right to be here with you and all the connections that have been happening in my life with music and healing, because I feel like people are awakening to that call. So thank you so much for opening this space, for this wonderful introduction. I really appreciate it.
Now, I'm super impressed. Not only am I just super impressed about the work that you're doing, but I'm super impressed about what you've accomplished. Can you tell everybody a little bit about your work as your work at Astral Wolf Records and what got you started in that? Because I think that's relatively new, right?
I think, yeah, I think music and healing, or music with that purpose, actually has been happening since the beginning of times. The music with this devotional aspect of music is happening for a good while, but it became it's not only backstage, it's just like very, very, very far in the, the zero there of importance nowadays, right? And one of the goals of Astral Wolf is to just give voice to the people that are awakening with this call inside their hearts, right? And so let me back up, as you ask. I'll try to tell a brief story, I guess, about this whole path of beauty and love and struggle as well, because everyone that tried to be an artist, go through that, but I think it's important to find your voice. I'm born and raised in Brazil. It's a very social, heart-centered culture at times. My mom has been a big influence on me with yoga and healing. She always brought me to that, journey, which I'm really grateful for. And so I'm a son of a quote unquote witch that I love, a beautiful witch, and of a great musician. My dad is a piano player, very good at what he does, and always introduced me to all the good music that I know. So that's why I say it was just a natural blend. It was just meant to be. Like, since my my childhood, I'm experienced both worlds very, very actively in my life. I tried to pursue the natural, quote unquote, more normal way of music. I was a performing artist for a while. I played in pubs and bars, just covering some other artists in Brazil. Had my rock band tour in London. I've done that. It was my teenage dream to kind of, do that. But I really, really, really luckily early on realized that that wasn't for me. That was not for me. Touring in London, and when
I just want to say something. I just wrote a blog post. I was a blues singer and doing a lot of gigs in my local area and playing with a lot of different bands, R&B bands, blues, and rock bands, really. But it became so abusive and loud on my senses that I couldn't really connect to my voice. Yep. And it really was about guitars and amplitude, like volume. I felt like my material and my voice, it wasn't being used like as a trained how to use my voice. It was so, and the reason I'm bringing that up is because a lot of our listeners and a lot of my personal clients are highly sensitive people, mm-hmm. Yep. Right? Yep. And I got to tell you, because I was living my dream and doing my thing, I wasn't feeling good in my body, and mm-hmm. my voice was actually hurting, and people were like, oh, Aeriol's the voice. And I was using my voice in such a forceful way that it was, I didn't get nodes or anything. I've got better technique than that, but it was the pushing energy. And I feel right now, the energy on the planet is that more divine feminine, of that receptive mm-hmm. energy, and more lyrical and flowy. Yeah. And divine, right? Yeah, yeah. I totally get what you're saying about, that wasn't for you. And I'm mm-hmm. sure lots of it, that force, like, it's fun to be in that vibration, but that's not healthy.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that the gist is we are in this, constant uprising of energy, and the people that are working on themselves a lot, and they're just getting more and more sensitive. I don't want to get into that place of saying, oh, this is less or more higher or lower vibration. I still like my rock music. I go to rock concerts every now and then, but the lifestyle and what I had to, at least for me, I was young too. Nowadays, maybe I would have think different, but what I felt like I had to become in order to achieve that was something that it just didn't feel right. And as I said, for me, although music always been my main goal in life, there's a bigger goal which is even, they're both mildly obsessive, which is to heal myself or to, work on my energy. So it was just a natural thing. By working on myself so deeply, I just became too sensitive for this kind of stuff. And it was just so natural that this path came to me, right? When I went to CIIS for sound healing, I was like, oh yeah, sound healing. Pfft. It was just so obvious that, all of that was happening because it was so embedded inside me, right? Because of all the work that I've been doing. So that's why I think it's just a natural consequence, not only for me, but I think it's a tendency of a lot of people that are taking, the spiritual and the awakening, quote unquote, path very seriously. It's just a natural consequence. I think that they're going to have to, go to that kind of music, I think.
Awesome. Well, tell us more. I went to CIIS too, but I was in the philosophy, cosmology, and consciousness program.
Great.
And I didn't end up finishing that degree because my head was going to explode.
Very mental.
Yeah, it was too heady for me. Although I've got a big head, so but it was just a little bit too big.
I do too.
I mean, I've got a supercomputer. I'll put it that way. Anyway, so tell us about your music. Tell us about what you're up to. I was looking at your website, and I noticed that you've got some beautiful music up there. Do you want to talk about that a little bit and what you're doing with that?
Definitely, yeah. Well, I guess it ties to the rest of that path as well that I was telling that story, because once I gave up that idea of being that performer and the rock star, if you want to call it so,
you're a rock star. Come on.
I quickly switched to film scoring, which I felt like was like, okay, so this is another way for me to express my music, because I've always seen myself as I love this term, which was quoted by my professor at CIS, Sylvia Nakash. She called me a music midwife.
Beautiful.
So I love that. So I always been really good at delivering music, that being composing, writing, or working with other artists, right? So then I was like, okay, so I need to honor that inside me. So I guess I was already working in the film industry back in Brazil. So I'm just going to do film score. And I've done that for a while. I think that plays a big influence on my work because I love textures. I love nature sound, the soundscapes that I create. That's very important to me. Plus all the orchestral, quote unquote, formal musical training plays a role as well. But then being in San Francisco and in the Bay Area, I think it was just a matter of time that I would eventually, find myself doing sound healing. I'm not really fond of this word just yet. I think we're still discovering this realm a little bit. But yeah, I was doing what a lot of people call sound healing. And then I quickly saw a big need for people who knew how to deliver music, because there's a lot of amazing artists around here that are doing amazing music. They are so good at what they do, but they don't have that the technical skills and also the experience of delivering music, as I tend to say. So then Astral Wolf was just a natural thing to do. I was like, well, I need to, I think I need to step up and fulfill this call of being the music producer of this type of music. I'm doing my own music, as you said, my album's Journeys in Sound Healing. A lot of people like it. I still perform live at places. I just play at 1440 Multiversity, was a wonderful gig. I play at Planet Home, was a big climate change awareness festival at Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco. So that was great. I'm doing that as well. But my main thing right now is Astral Wolf Records, which is this place that I'm trying to create, not only a record label, but I'm envisioning something even bigger, but that's for another topic.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that is a lot for our guests to chew on. I was looking at your, I love this. I want to go here because you said, if there was a tip that you could give to any of our guests, there's a reason I want to go here. You say, music is a powerful tool to share and express your feelings, obviously. And I got to tell you, I have listened to a lot of your music, and I love that. I love that rich, expansive soundscape that you make. I really do. Your work is very good. But I love this too. You said, use music and sound to promote healthy grieving in your life. Now, the reason that is it's so timely, I swear to God, in the last 3 months, not only have I have a book coming out in December that is addressing this topic of grieving through an animal legacy book Beautiful. That I am participating in, and that will have a set of oracle cards and a journal. The whole book is not about grief, but it's just interesting as a sound healer myself. I do vibrational sound, so I do somatic work people are on the table. I'm a body worker. The interesting thing is I have been called more often in the last few months to speak on the topic of grief. Now, I'm a high energy being. If you see, I'm a high energy presence. And when I get in front of people, you cannot shut me up. And it's so interesting to me that I am literally being called to this right now. Beautiful. And it's so, I don't know if you usually write that in anything that you do, or if that was just some sort of weird intuitive hit you threw in there, but this is like another clue that I'm on the right path. So I hope it's another, I hope it's good for you too.
No,
talk about grief for just a moment, please.
Yeah, it was intuitive. Of course, I don't usually write that because it's not, I kind of did a little research as well on yourself. I was like, yeah, I think she's going to understand where I'm coming from. So I feel like it would be great to talk about this. So although some of my sound healing work, the album that you heard is more soundscapes, I do have, and I'm working still currently on an album, which I'm calling The Dark Hour of the Soul. It's an album that I purposely planned during my Saturn return. It was happening.
Okay.
Yeah, it started last year. I was like, okay, Saturn return is up. It's a very long story. I heard messages. During my meditation, I hear my guide clearly speaking to me to do shadow work, to go deep, to explore the shadows of the being, to explore the shadow. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll have time for that story, but in shamanic journeys, I saw basically one of my main lessons in life, which was to accept the shadows and become one with the shadows. So I too came from a place that I always, just because I think when you are this being of light, you want to promote healing and happiness so much, and compassion and love. You want to promote that so much, but I realized the pain that was causing, not only on myself, but on other people, because we're living in a place that I'm tending to call this a well-being dictatorship. I think there is a kind of a dictatorship that we are currently experiencing of the well-being, the happiness. Let's maybe change the well-being to happiness dictatorship, which is gotta be happy, love, and it is beautiful. And I think it is the goal. It is what we need to have in mind. But after years and years of trying to, work on myself, I realized the only thing that I felt that I had the final result of improving that pain that I was feeling inside. Everything else was peeling back the layers and helping me to get to this point. But the only thing was to dive deep into grief and pain. And that album, and that's when Astral Wolf came into my head as well, because when I did this album, I'm still in the process of writing it, I felt such a relief because I was going deep into my pain, and every song that I was writing, that I'm writing, was about a part of myself that just needed love, that just needed to be seen, that just needed to be acknowledged with no judgment. And what better form is to achieve that than through music and art, because it is judgmental-less, if there's such word.
That was a good word.
Thank you.
I'm going to give you extra points for your new word.
Thank you. And then that's why, again, Astral Wolf came into my mind. I was like, wow, that was powerful process. And if I can help people to go through the same process, of course, people are going to be in different levels of their journey, right? People that are coming to me to produce their albums, not everyone is there, and that's totally okay. I think sharing and expressing is important no matter what stage you are of your life. But those who are ready to go to that deep part of the being, to do that work and give voice to it. It was really important for me to give voice to that part of me, to those parts of me that were kept in the dark, through music. That was beautiful, and that was true healing. For the first time in my life that I experienced anxiety, my depression, the weird mood swings that I would have, for the first time in my life I experienced some relief, and it was through music, and it was through shadow work as well. So again, Astral Wolf just came, it was just the right thing to do. It was like, I want to help people to do that too, if they are in that process, and I can produce, I can help them deliver the music because I have that experience, right? So I guess that's why I needed to share. I felt like, yeah, we should talk about this because it's important.
It's really good. And one of my speaking mentors, a business mentor that I worked with, bless his heart, he has left the planet at this time, but just about maybe 2 years ago, he opened up this subject of grief. And we had huge success just with having a lot of coaches and speakers addressing the subject of grief. Fast forward right now, if you're paying attention astrologically, I hope everybody in our listening audience is at least plugging in a little bit, but we have so much going on cosmically right now. Everybody's grief and shadow is kind of coming out for cleansing. And there's never been a better time to embrace your own personal ascension work and your own personal healing. So we are preaching the gospel here, me and Gian, right? This is the time. Exactly. There has never been a more perfect time in the cosmos to bring things like this forth. So let's heal it all. I hope you've enjoyed this time with our musical midwife, Gian. Gian, I absolutely love your title, Musical Midwife, and I'm looking forward to working with you. I have a little inkling here that there's something cooking that we can produce together, and I'm looking forward to exploring that with you. And I hope that our listeners are really expanding their mind and consciousness to embrace all of these concepts that we have talked about today. And can you give us one last plug of where our listeners can reach you and where they can get a hold of your juicy, juicy music?
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate being a part of this. Thank you for the space. Thank you for the work you're doing individually and for the community. For those who are interested in, knowing a little bit more of Astral Wolf Records, the website is www.astralwolf.com. It's that easy. Take a look there, see if it resonates with you, and if you feel inclined, send me a message. We could talk. We don't necessarily have to do any sort of specific work. Sometimes just talking. I'm open to that. I love talking to people. And for anyone who's willing to listen to my music, I am in pretty much most of the streaming platforms. iTunes didn't let me upload my sound healing album there because it had binaural beats, and they have something against binaural beats.
Wow.
But you can simply,
That's a good subject.
Yeah. We can simply Google my name, Gian Berselli, and I think you're gonna see really easy. I'm on Spotify and YouTube. There's a lot of things for you guys to listen to. And for those of you who are on Spotify, I'm creating a playlist of the music that I've been working on, all the artists that I have worked on in the past year, which is Astral Wolf Records. You guys can go on Spotify, and there's a playlist there with some of the stuff that we've been releasing here at Astral Wolf.
That is amazing. You are all going to want to tune into that right away. All right, everybody. This is Aeriol. I have had a blast today. So I hope everybody goes ahead and looks up Astral Wolf Records. That's Astral Wolf Records. And for all of my artists out there and all of my sound healers, God bless you. Keep doing your work and keep expanding. And to all the other listeners, I wish you happy healing.